Hi everyone and welcome back to WARNO. Today we're taking a step away from the monthly tournament while we wait for more games to be played. This is a game that was sent to me by the player with a blank name in this game, who's called Justinflation normally. And he's playing against P.Uri.Tanner. This was a ranked match on 2 lakes. Tanner is on the right hand side in blue, playing as the 39th Infantry. And over on the left we have Nobody, or Justinflation, playing as the 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. We can see straight away that we've got a lot of FS units forward positioned to fill this town, which is unsurprising. It is Alpha after all, and this player always goes straight for Alpha. And on the other side we see Tanner with a lot of units aiming to go up here, and probably even more units coming this way, likely going up to Alpha as well. Alpha is where the big fight will be this game. Single command in for Echo and a command in for Delta as well. Just having a look for any other command vehicles. There is a command here too, which is going for Alpha. So Justinflation going for some early points here. Loads of HE bombers in as well. These are those cheap ones, 60 points. That's a really odd call. I've not seen anyone do that before. So many right at the start. A few squads of Motostrelki, T-62s. Not too much defense, but enough. More Motostrelki coming this way, which I assume are going to aim to fill this area. That one's going that way. These ones coming down here, and these, I assume, going for this forest. Tanner's command vehicle has stopped outside of Echo. That's very strange. One of these bombers coming in now, going for these units, I assume. The other's just sitting at the back. Is he going to get some early kills here? No, Tanner spotted them and scrambled his units, though that squad of Razvedka Heavy taking a lot of fire anyway. Reinforcements now arriving en masse for Tanner, but he's not going to be able to rush in there very quickly, that's for sure. He's still not moved into Echo, so Justinflation is getting +5 points right now. I honestly think he's... What is this here? The mass spam of grenade launchers. So these little vehicles have the AGS-17 on them. They're very cheap, but they don't do very much damage. We've tested these in a little testing setup we did before. They fire very rapidly, they're very cheap, and apparently, speaking to Tanner, they do a lot of damage to buildings. And he brought these in basically for target saturation. They're a good thing to cause the enemy to waste their missiles. So very good against Soviet tanks, for example, which will fire all their missiles at these while your tanks do the damage. Also good for things like tow launchers and Milans or Conkers, etc, etc. Tanner still hasn't moved his command up. I genuinely think he's forgotten about that. Still +5 to Justinflation. Nothing happening at the top. All the focus is down here on Alpha. Units pushing in from the side now. Plenty of fire coming in on these FS Jaeger, but they are in a building. I'm really curious to see what these grenade launchers do. So Tanner says they destroy buildings. They don't do a lot of damage to infantry in open field. I have tested that. And they're not particularly accurate. Good fire support from tanks here on these buildings at the edge. Tanner has done a really good job at clearing these buildings at the edge of this town, and that's always a big challenge when you're pushing into this area, is clearing up the very edge so you can move your units close enough to get in this first set of buildings. Milan there, taking a lot of fire. Tanner also using transport vehicles, probably again as target saturation. Lots of Sapri coming in. Very good choice for pushing into a town. He's also bringing more Motostrelki. He has finally capped this point, so it's now just +3 to Justinflation. Justinflation bringing in a load more Leopard 1A5s. There's a Leopard 2A3 on the field there, and another 1A5. Also, there's a Leopard 2A3 being called in over here. That command right at the back there, it's not the safest position, because if Tanner was feeling like it, he could get a scout unit in all the way around the back and pop that very easily going through the forest. So that is a risk. Jäger Aufkul pushing across the centre there to get line of sight on things. Tanner making a move. Here we go with all of those grenade launches. Actually being fairly accurate on this building, to be fair. Look at that. It is taking a lot of fire to kill that building, though. That took a little while longer than I expected. But it did do it. And they have managed to kill that squad. That was much more impressive than when we tested them. Leopard 105's coming in there for Justinflation. Tanner doing a really good job with these things, to be honest. I'm surprised how effective they are against the buildings. You can see now how they're not quite as effective against the infantry just running around. But they seem more accurate against buildings almost. I suppose it's harder to miss a building. Leopard 105's being used to cull the tide of these little vehicles, though. Leopard 105 and the 2A3 pushing really up close and personal here. T62 will get a good shot off on that 2A3 potentially. Oh, it turned around and he's at range, so he's not going to do that much to it. That was 2 jets going down. I don't know if they were both Tanners or one belonged to each player. I didn't quite see what they were. Tanner is in the town, so this has been a success. Half the battle is making sure you can get in there. Other side of the map, nothing really happening. AT, Banner with his SU-25 AT coming in. He did kill the Leo 2A3, and the 1A5 is also dead. Pushing up his own tanks now at this side. Not a lot of anti-tank there. There is a Leopard 1A5 at the back. Main issue is these 3 tanks here. He does have these motor Strelky squads, though, which he could push up and potentially get some side or rear shots on. But as Tanner forgotten they're there, they do still have a full complement of 6 missiles each. They could do a lot of damage to those tanks if they could get a rear shot. Overwhelming force in terms of infantry here, though, for Justinflation has pushed Tanner out once more. More tanks coming in there for Tanner. 32 minutes left to go. Reinforcements coming in at the top for Justinflation now. He's going to try and make a push on that top point. The reality is, Tanner doesn't have a lot there. He's got a command vehicle, a tank, and 3 squads of motor Strelky. He doesn't even have a recon up there. And these Jäger Aufkul are very close. They have a good view on this side of the point. Still a slugging fest going on down here. Various things going pop on both sides. Has he lost any tanks yet? No, he's still got the 2 1A5s and the Leopard 2A3. None have taken any damage. There are more tanks on the way for Tanner, but T62s, while not bad tanks at all, are still going to struggle against the 2A3 in particular. Justinflation managing to pick off units here. A lot of fighting going on at the back. Tanner did move up those Strelki, but they're being engaged by the Jaeger. Unfortunately, he didn't move them up a little bit sooner and managed to catch those tanks. The MV there, getting a missile launch off. Don't think it actually hit. I think the Leopard managed to get back into the trees in time. Actually, 24M cluster fluttering around at the back there for Tanner. Obviously planning to call it in on these tanks once he can see exactly where they are. Leo there firing out. Good use again by Tanner of these units for target saturation / scouting in this particular case. He's using it to see where those tanks are. We may see... No, that cluster's still just... Is it turning in for a kill now? Yes, I think it is. I assume going for this one here. No, it's not. Veering off completely, going up here to stop this tide that's about to come and hit the top point. Not a bad strike, but I think it's going to miss that Leo at the front there. Oh, no, it didn't. Wow. That looked like it was going to completely land behind that Leopard 1A1A1, but it actually hit it twice. Very nice. Small amount of infantry coming in there. Good fire support from that tank on the ones that are coming in at this side. However, there are 2 tanks there for Justinflation. Not a huge amount there, but some reinforcements now being called in for Tanner. Sapri and Mutstrike being called in again for Alpha here. Still 747 points ahead to Justinflation at the moment. More Leopard 1A5s being called in at the top there, and some supply vehicles to reinforce these infantry squads, I'm sure. These Mutstrike still running away from this Jaeger squad. Leo 2A3 could be about to die. Yes, we arrived just in time to see that go pop. Still the 2 1A5s surviving. We still have 3 T62s alive at this side. Now, right now, there aren't a lot of infantry in here, though there are Pioneer Flams that are fully repaired and fully rearmed. But are there enough units for Tanner to push in there? Potentially, but the issue is all of these tanks. He's still got some tanks up there at the top. And he's still got the tanks down here. He has lost this one that was in here now, though. That's one of the 1A5s gone pop. He's still got this Leo 1A5 there. Up at the top of the map. Slow progress for Justinflation, perhaps. He's bringing in a lot more tanks at the top here. Another 3 coming in there. And he's bringing in a Sultan CV and another Leopard 1A5. So he's really pushing in a lot of tanks right now. He's lost another Leopard 1A1A1 at the top there to this T62. Mi-24 coming in now for fire support against these units. There is a Jeopard there, though, so there is some anti-air on the side of Justinflation. Not a lot of movement at the bottom now. It's kind of hit a stopping point. Loads of M48s just being called in now. Is that 3 more tanks? Justinflation going heavy on the tanks right now. Slow progress still for these Jaegers. Really would like to see Tanner bring in. He is bringing in 1 supply and another one there. Good. That's exactly what I was thinking. He's just got a few units that maybe need a resupply, need a rearm, need a couple of replacement infantry units. Down here at the bottom, we do see a little bit of movement here again. Tanner getting some units at the edge there, doing some damage to some vehicles with the Metis. Needs to be careful, though, as there are these Pioneer Flams here, which still are fully armed. FS Jaeger, they're a pain, but he could deal with that. He needs to get those Sapri down here to deal with those squads. Up at the top, those tanks getting very close and personal. The Jaegers have been called back by Justinflation to get fully rearmed and repaired. Both players doing that now. Very sensible at this stage, just to save losing those squads completely. More Sapri coming in there. Razvedka heavy. Another chopper being brought in this time. The recon chopper coming in there. Here's all of those M48s arriving at Alpha. Command zone lost. The Sultan has finally arrived at the top there, so back to +3 for Justinflation. Tanner needs to kill that pretty quickly. He's already got a head start on those points, and Tanner can't really afford to let him continue that. Everything running away from the Sapri down here. Very good unit control. Oh, unlucky. But really good unit control there from Justinflation. He did run those units away, which is the sensible thing to do. You don't want to get up close and personal to a Sapri. Those satchel charges will rip you apart. You need to keep them at range. Loads of units here now for Tanner. Quite a lot of units here. Not a huge amount in the center here. Really, it's tanks. The reality is, though, tanks are a great deterrence from infantry because they do a lot of fire support, especially when infantry is crossing open ground to get to them. And infantry needs to be up close and personal to these tanks to be doing lots of damage. I do see there is a command infantry sat in there, though, so Tanner is planning to move in at some point. Up at the top here, Tanner moving units in and out to keep rearming and repairing them. He is obviously taking a lot of fire from these Leopard 1A5s. Doesn't really have many tanks of his own. He's got a T-62 sat back here getting repaired, and he's just repairing his chopper there. T-80 BV there and a BMP-1 getting some shots off. I think he has managed to kill some kind of vehicle there. Leo 1A5's doing a really good job still providing that fire support. You can see that these squads slowly losing more and more members. Not a good sign. Leo 2A3 coming in there. Not what Tanner will want to see, and another 2A3 coming in, and another 3 2A3s coming in at the top here. Tanner will be wanting a cluster or one of his Su-25 AT jets coming in for that. Not a lot of movement at the bottom, all the focus at the top now. But honestly, with the amount of stuff and the amount that Justinflation is spending at the top of the map right now, what did I say about Su-25 AT planes and Tanner? Here they come, 2 of them. What's he going for with them? He fired at the infantry first. There's still a Jeopard there. Oh, that's a Leopard. Where's the Jeopard gone? Oh, the Jeopard must have died. You see, he is calling in another 2 there, but they're not there right now. So if Tanner's going to move in with these jets, he needs to straight away. Here we go. Coming in for the kill on that 2A3. Both missiles missed. He will swing around potentially and get another shot off. But Justinflation doing a fast retreat there very sensibly. He doesn't want to have that fight if he can help it. Oh, that's really unlucky for Tanner. None of his missiles hit. That's very disappointing. He will be very upset about that. Loads more reinforcements coming in at the bottom now. Tanner knows he needs to make a move eventually. Interesting, he's got all of these transport vehicles right around the back now. Has presented to him where some of these M48s are, of course. But I'm not sure what he plans to do with them. Back in control at this point, of course. Justinflation had to pull that command out, but of course has saved it at the end of the day, which means that he doesn't have to buy another one. Interesting. 2 artillery pieces in for Tanner now. Using them for smoke. Very good. Leopard 2A3 there, taking a lot of shots from missile units. And is that still a grenade launcher firing at those Jaeger? I'm surprised he's got any left. Yeah, it is. There it is. Little AGS-17. That is a lot of smoke. I'm just trying to decide if that was Tanner planning to push, or if that was just to stop the 2A3 being able to fire. Could be that he's pushing. He's certainly pushing these units here. These tanks too far back to have line of sight on this road. Not in the best position. This means that he will be able to get up here. He is now smoking in front of them. I would possibly have liked to have seen these tanks moved up. Really surprised they weren't a little bit further forward. Obviously, it's more risk to the tanks as well, but it means that they can fire at incoming units. Up at the top here, no real movement now from Justinflation. He is bringing in more Pioneers. Loads more Pioneers, in fact. And some FS Jaeger there. Down here we do see that Tanner is making a move. Quick retreat of units by Justinflation though, including one of these tanks, getting them as far away as possible from these infantry. Very sensible. He knows he needs to be out of the range of those ATGMs. And obviously the other RPG launchers. Plenty more infantry coming in still at the bottom point. Tanner not seemingly intending to send more units to the top there, just hoping he can continue to hold. Does have his infantry commander in here and is playing to Nick's tune. He is continuing to smoke this area to hide his infantry commander. In fact, I can't even see the infantry commander in there. +3 currently to Tanner. The infantry commander is hidden behind that truck. SU-25's coming in again. Tanner's favourite jet. That is quite a few tanks there, which will cause him a lot of issues as he's trying to push in from this side. I think Tanner's trying not to overextend himself here, but at the same time I kind of wish he would push in. That was Tanner losing a bomber there. He's got all of these. He's got 3 squads, 4 squads of infantry, 5 squads of infantry there. Plus more here. He could really do with moving those into the town, because there's now Pioneers that he has to go up against as well. And Justinflation playing Tanner at his own game, sending in these Fuchs Milans as cover for the tanks so that they take some of the brunt of those RPG launchers. SU-25 AT still trying to get shots on this Leopard. SU-25 rockets coming in as well. Also going for that Leopard and the Jeopard at the back. Managing to take out squad of infantry on the way out. SU-24 cluster bomber. Desperate to kill one of these Leopards. Oh. That was very unlucky. Jeopard surviving through all of this. Wondering if that jet's going to get out. I think it might just get out in one piece. There's another jet going down there. I don't know who that belonged to. Possibly that was one of Justinflation's. But +3 to Tanner at the moment. Justinflation making a move at the top now. Tanner kind of stalled at the bottom. But there aren't a lot of tanks left. There's 2 tanks here. There's still the 2 A3s back here, but they're pretty far back. Forces pushing in here from Tanner. He really needs to make a move with these guys as well. I feel like they're just kind of sat there. He's got all these forces here that could be in the town. I mean, yes, the Pioneers are an issue, but if he sits back here, I suppose Tanner's just happy with the fact that all he needs to do is sort of hold on to those 3 points, but there are loads more reinforcements coming in. 5 squads of Zisharungs, 3 M48s, and 3 Leopard 1A1A1s. Command came in there and was very quickly destroyed by Tanner's defending forces. Still +3 to Tanner. I assume this is going to be smoke rather than artillery shots, but who knows. Loads of tanks on the field for Justinflation. 15 minutes left of this match. We are well over the halfway mark. I'm wondering if Tanner is even going to manage to hold on to this point long enough that it's neutralized and he continues to get +3. This could be a win on points for either player. But there's a lot of reinforcements coming in there. Another group of Zischerungs as well. I think Tanner's not going to be able to hold this point. And I think that right now it looks like Justinflation will end the game at sort of this level of points. Because equally, I feel like Tanner's got a very strong defensive hold on this top point. So many Zischerungs, so many tanks at the back of this point now. Oh wow, look at the support fire coming from all of those vehicles on this building. Ouch. Absolutely melted the building, melted the infantry. Youch. And look at all of this infantry now. Loads of Zischerungs. Yes, they only have assault rifles, but it's all he needs. He can use them for scouting. They're fairly cheap. And then he's got all of these pioneers and things that he can move up if he needs to. Smoke dropping there. Really, Tanner needs to smoke his command. He may well do that. He may play a bit of Nick's game. All these tanks pushing up now. Good fire support from this tree line on anything coming towards the commander. But these pioneers on the move now, and these will just charge in. Cluster bomber coming in there. It's a Tornado IDS. Cluster has dropped on that tank. Will get the kill. Also killed something at the front. There's still another command sat there. Loads of Panzer Grenadiers in Marders coming in as well now at the bottom here. Just coming around the top of the point towards the middle of the map. All these Leopards taking out the infantry and vehicles down here as well. Yeah, there's no way Tanner is staying in this point. The sheer amount of forces right now for Justinflation here is crazy. Where equally, you know, I've got to say the same up here for Tanner. That, you know, Justinflation does not have enough units there to push in here. And Tanner is catching up on those points. He's actually had this for longer than I expected him to. But he's lost it now, and getting back in there is going to be an absolute nightmare. SU-25 rocket attack jet coming in will likely hit these pioneers. No, I think he went for the tank actually. Didn't seem to do any damage to it though. 2 HE bombers coming in now. Lost one, but a beautiful strike. 2 very nice strikes. Done a lot of damage to Tanner's forces there. Did manage to take out both of those HE bombers though. SU-25 rockets still flittering around the back there, but Tanner's in trouble at the bottom now. He's lost a lot of units there. It's not to say that Justinflation hasn't lost a lot of units at the top as well, but you notice that Justinflation still has these 2 Leopards there, so he is bringing in another command. He feels confident enough that he can sit it behind those Leopards, I'm sure. But this is an issue. This is a big issue for Tanner right now. He is not going to be able to hold here if Justinflation wants to push out, and he is certainly moving forward with those tanks. SU-25 rocket not doing much to these tanks. He really needs the SU-25 AT planes. They're either damaged or dead, and I've missed it. But he needs those to come in and take out these Leopard 2A3s, if nothing else. Motostrelki Command is going to get killed very shortly. Tanks coming in from the top now to try and support. We will be taking a lot of fire from that 2A3, which is obviously a very good tank. It is almost dead though. But the T80 is dead equally here. Just an SU-25 rocket there. There's another T80 BV coming in and a T-62M. Razvedka Heavy versus the FS Jaeger Aufkul at the top there, but obviously the Razvedka taking a lot of fire from all of these Leopard 2A3s at the top. Interestingly, only 2 of them there now. He had called in 3 at one point. T-62s doing the best they can, providing a lot of fire support, stopping Justinflation pushing out. And there's the Su-25AT plane. Really good strike. Managed to take out the Leo 2A3. I mean, Tanner has been so unlucky this game. So incredibly unlucky with misses with those missiles. The Su-25AT missiles have been missing so much. He has been so unlucky. It has most certainly cost him a few little fights in this game where he just hasn't managed to take out those tanks. Loads of fire from these Milans coming towards these tanks now. Not the most accurate of missiles, but they will do the job if they get a hit, and there it is. Tank popped. Tanner managing to do a really good job holding Justinflation at bay, but he's still got some points to make up there. Justinflation still a few hundred points ahead. Resupply coming in at the top here. Lots of smoke being dropped there, but I think that's Tanner smoking there. Probably protect his own infantry. Oh, such high damage from those Leopard 2A3s against infantry and vehicles. They're such great tanks. T-80s coming in there, and there it is. Command in at the top for Justinflation, back to +3. 8 minutes to go in this game. It is going to be a challenge for Tanner to catch up. And right now, what I've got to say is there are a lot more units on the field and a lot more reinforcements coming in for Justinflation. And I can't help but wonder, at this stage of the game, having played as the 39th Infantry in a few games myself, is Tanner running low on units? I found myself running out of infantry as the 39th. They're supposed to be an infantry-based division, but I genuinely found myself running out of infantry with them. And I do see that Tanner is bringing in Razvedka now, the standard recon infantry, both at the bottom and the top, and I do wonder if he is now out of standard infantry and is having to bring in his recon infantry. I have been in exactly that position with the 39th, so I really think that Tanner may just be out of infantry now, which means that he's not going to be able to do another push on Alpha. So this could well be game to Justinflation due to a lack of units in the deck. Tanner's doing such a good job holding for such a long time, as is Justinflation. But just right now, in terms of units on the field, there's definitely more there for Justinflation. There's no competition. Loads of tanks in now for Tanner, but a serious lack of infantry. And there just seems to be more and more coming in for Justinflation. Tanner has an anti-air jet right at the back there, and a Motostrelki squad right at the back. Another command coming in there. I think the intention is to have another one to slot in straight away. With 6 minutes left in this game. Tanner's still putting up a fight at the top here. He is using Razvedka to fight now. They're not bad units. They really aren't. Razvedka heavy with the machine gun, and the standard Razvedka do have an ATGM as well, or should I say an RPG. But very sparse at the bottom here. Tanner knows the only way he can stall Tanner knows the only way he can possibly stall what's going on is to kill the command here, but there is another on the way. And I really don't see Tanner catching up in points now. He must be out of infantry. He's not calling any in. It's all recon. He's even calling in recon choppers. I mean, this is a sign of I don't have any infantry left. Yeah, more Radvedska, BRDM2 recon vehicles. Yeah, Tanner is out of units that he can bring in to fight this fight. And that is a significant problem with the 39th. If the game gets to this stage, you're 5 minutes away from the 40-minute mark. The 39th is very likely going to be out of infantry. I don't know why they seem to get so few compared to the other infantry divisions, but yeah, I can imagine that, by now Justinflation is also hurting in terms of infantry. He has called in a lot of infantry this game. But this is Tanner knows he's not going to win. He's sending in a bit of everything right now. Really well played though, guys. Really enjoyable game. Some really good pushes from both of you. Really enjoyed Tanner's push down here. He eventually got in there. I kind of wished he had pushed all of these infantry and vehicles in when he went in with everything else. And I'm kind of having mixed feelings as the game went on, because they did provide initially a lot of fire support when Justinflation pushed back. So I'm not sure if they would have been better off in there. Would they have managed to push the town completely? Or were they in a better position where they just held off Justinflation's push back a little bit longer? I'm really curious where he's going to go with these vehicles. Tanner, can I just say, I'm so disappointed that you didn't go around the back and kill that Sultan CV. I'm so disappointed. It was at the back corner there. I wish you had sent a scout squad round to kill it. I know you didn't know where it was, but I just wish you had sent one to have a look. Because that is such a good way. If they haven't got, if someone hasn't put any defenses or recon there, it's so easy just to slip an infantry squad down the back there. Equally, there's nothing there for Tanner either. So Justinflation could have done the same and swung around and killed this CV. The RDM2's charging towards that point. Oh, Tanner has killed the commands. Back to neutralized with 3 minutes to go. I mean, the sad thing is, there's just no way in 3 minutes Tanner could pull this back. So it was over anyway, but I give him full credit for fighting on. He's pushing it to the last 3 minutes. And he has cleared this area completely. But yeah, look at this. This is a sign that Justinflation is also out of units. He's just brought on his Lux A1s in with the autocannons. He's also bringing in a Part 1A1 with the Hot 2. I mean, this is truly last minute. We're at 40-minute game. We've both lost loads of units. It's just calling everything. Tanner bringing in the rest of his anti-air now, his Biryusas. You can really tell in this game when people are running out of units in their deck, because all the silly stuff comes out. I mean, Tanner has nothing left in this point either now. 2 minutes left of this match. It will go to the wire. There is still a command sat here. He could still push in with that. There's nothing to stop him, really. Here go the Urals, the supply Urals. There come the artillery pieces that's left. I'm really curious. There's another 2 artillery pieces. How many artillery pieces do you have in this deck, Tanner? I'm waiting to see if this command goes in. 1 minute, 20 seconds left. I'm genuinely curious if anything is going to get any fun kills. But, I mean, Tanner has no tanks left. He's got nothing there. Can his Biryusas take out some of these jets? It's a distinct possibility with this IDS coming across there. Nope, they weren't on attack move. Taking out that chopper now. HE bomber coming in. Could go for those Biryusas. It is going for those Biryusas. Oh no, it went for the infantry at the front. So, oh yeah, that was not going to survive against all of those. What's that? 4 Biryusas? Lots of artillery just randomly firing in here now. He's going for a CV snipe. Good call. Unfortunately, they don't get stunned like they do in Wargame Red Dragon. When they get stunned, they decap the point briefly so you can see exactly that you're hitting the right area. God, artillery is terrible, isn't it? That is literally just a little Sultan CV. And it's withstanding shells from all those artillery pieces. And that's game. Oh dear. Minor victory, minor defeat. I mean, you know, that's yeah. Well done, guys. And look at the kills to losses. This was a 40-minute game where by the end, Tanner had very little left on the field. But look how close the kills to losses are. That's a sign of a really good match, where there was a true back and forth. Leopards doing exceptionally well as always, you know. Always the Leopards getting all the kills, all the way down. Ridiculously good. T62s and T80s doing a really good job at the other side for Tanner, though. That SU-25AT did kill a single Leopard. Killed a Marder and a Jeopard as well, though. And the Panzer Grenadier is in a Marder. I don't know if it was still in that Marder, probably. But yeah, it only killed one Leopard. I think that's a real shame. The SU-25AT's really letting you down there, Tanner. But really good game. I enjoyed that one. It was a really, really big slogfest. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe as always. And I will see you all soon for some more WARNO. I hope you enjoyed your weekend.